This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of having Deanna and Jackson Loychuk here from Vancouver to join us on the show with 30-Minute Hit. And that is a workout, and it is coming to the U.S., so fasten your seatbelts, and we are going to talk about the story of how this company has evolved since 2004, how a couple is running the company, so it's your personal and professional lives are very much intertwined, and where you see the future of your company and where you see the future of the industry. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so my partner Dave Fowler, met with you several months ago, and we're intrigued by what you're doing. And seems like you built a very sustainable business and methodically built it. So maybe Deanna, do you want to talk about how the company started and how you guys made some personal decisions, as not just professional ones?
Sure, I'd love to. Where it really first started was Jackson was running a large MMA gym in Vancouver, a very successful, big, well-known people coming from all over the world for training. And we had a few women training, but we knew that we were missing a big portion of the market. And so we came up with the idea of a circuit-based high-intensity training, really before high-intensity is as popular as it is now, 15 years ago. And we started it as a program at our facility. And in the first year of running that program, we grew from a few sessions to fully staffed with 6 mornings, 3 nights, packed, women loving it. So we knew we definitely, created something that the women loved. Women love to hit things.
And this was exclusively for women.
Yes, it is.
And was there a reason why you didn't, did you feel like they were more comfortable that way, or what would you find out about the community before you kind of made that decision?
Well, boxing's always been a more dominant male gender sport, and yet women love to hit and kick. And so we wanted to try something that was just for the women. It's still very, it's edgy. It's not, it's circuit training. People kind of relate that to a curves. It's nothing like a curves. But it does provide women to get an incredible workout in half an hour. And yet we still have, we've built an incredible culture at 30-Minute Hit with an amazing community with our members. And our members become like, I hate to say this word, but they're like disciples. They are addicted to our workout.
Sure.
Yeah.
So talk about in 2004. So you Jackson, you were inside of a club running a program. Was it someone else's club, or did you guys?
No, I owned it.
You guys own the club. Okay. Yeah. So and talk about your partnership and how that evolved.
Sure.
The G-rated version. Thanks.
Well, I think Deanna and I have always been entrepreneurs our whole lives. We haven't had many jobs working for other people. So entrepreneurship is something that's sort of natural for us. And when we see an opportunity, it's easy for us to sort of take the leap and have faith that hard work will pay off. So when we came up with this concept and this idea, it did really revolve around the fact that we had very few women training in the environment, but we could see the ones that did really enjoyed it. I have a personal philosophy that women in our culture have been taught not to hit, not to, they're always told, be good, be nice. You're not supposed to do that.
Right.
And
not anymore, I would say.
Well, no, and you have to remember, this was 15 years ago.
Sure. And
guys always had that natural outlet, wrestling, boxing, rugby, football, where they could sort of take out their natural aggressions. And, my personal philosophy is that need and urge is there within women. It's part of our DNA, how we've evolved, but it's been repressed. And so, we decided to see if we could create something where that outlet was available to them. And you have to remember, again, this was 15 years ago when women doing boxing was still a little bit taboo. We were a little bit pioneers, I like to think, in the women's only sort of boxing for fitness concept.
So when you started the first program, how much of this was, we're going to sit down with a whiteboard, we're going to figure out okay, here's the revenue per hour, here's the instructors. So talk about how you basically said, okay, look, I know that this is going to work. I live in this, so I know it's going to work. And then I'll put the financial metrics and like think of this as a business person later.
I wouldn't say it unfolded quite that way.
No.
It was more of an experiment, as Deanna mentioned earlier, that we wanted to see if we could attract, women to the program, and if they would get results and if they would enjoy it or not. We saw really quickly that was the case, and it sort of exploded to the point where we knew we had something that was really sustainable and we could grow. It was only a couple of years into it where, we were just booming, and we had actually one of our members approach us and say, listen, I love it here. This feels like a good place for me. I'm happiest when I'm here, and I want to do this. And Deanna always likes to tell the story that she's at first reaction was, well, no, I'm fully staffed. We don't need any more trainers.
Right.
But she was like, no, I want to be you. I want to do this in another part of the city.
That's why we're doing this podcast, by the way.
Yeah. And so a light bulb went off for us. And so we opened a second, then a third and a fourth location very quickly through members. It was very organic.
Is this through franchising, or did you do like joint ventures? Or?
We did licensing agreements for the first three. And then our legal team said, you need to franchise. So that's what we did. And we probably sold our first 25 hits all organically, zero marketing, all with members that love the program, that were maybe moving to a different province and said, I can't not have this work out in my life. I want to take it to somewhere else in Canada. Yeah,
that seems to be how a number of franchisors, have evolved. It's basically someone asked to talk about the story that, Gold's Gym in the 1980s started off with, there was someone in San Francisco that was trying to open up a club, and they used to collect all the membership dues up front, they paid in full, and they basically just take that money and they use it to fund the construction of the club before bonding and all sorts of other rules. But it's basically like they wanted to license a sign because then it would at least prove that this gym is probably going to open at some point because it's a name brand. Sure. But we've worked with a lot of different franchisors that started out as licensing companies and then evolved into franchises. But their first 5 locations, like with Extend, the first 5 locations were members that moved to another city and like couldn't live without the workout. So I think it's important. I would say like the first 20 franchisees of any franchisor either will make or break your business. If you get like 5 of those or even 2 of those that just the relationship doesn't work, it could tank the business.
So those 3 that we licensed to are still owners. They own multiple locations. And actually that girl is my executive assistant. She's on our corporate headquarters and works with us daily. So
how important, obviously part of this is like, okay, this person's got the personal financial statement to open this up and they've got backing and, but how much of this was about, your level of trust that like, I'm willing to trust this person with my brand? Oh, there's that involved for sure. Then that's grown more and more as we grow. We are obviously more picky with the people that are joining our brand to make sure that they can fit into our team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, we've had to say no to a few people, and that's always tough, but it's important. It's important that our brand stays true to who we are and that the team, we train a lot together. Our owners are training every 2 weeks together, and they got to keep up and they got to keep training. And training's a big part of ownership. So, yeah, we have to be picky. We feel a real responsibility to our franchisees to make sure that we're only bringing solid people to the team. Mm-hmm. As we sort of consider that as part of our support system, is making sure that we're not adding people that are not a good mix, because it's a shared brand. And at the end of the day, these people have made a big investment. They put their trust in us to lead them in the right direction and give them the tools and support and the people around them to succeed. So if we're not bringing really quality people to the team, it's just detrimental for everybody. So how has it evolved over time when you're talking about, people are training every 2 weeks? So what's the radius of how far these franchisees are away? Do you drop people in and do trainings? No. So we do have training headquarters at a location in Vancouver where probably 20 owners show up every 2 weeks. Okay. But it's done via Skype. Gotcha. With everybody else, and it works incredible.
So.
And as you've evolved with the programming and understanding you got to serve more people, have you done that by building out your corporate team? Have
Yes.
you relied on vendors? What's been the mix?
All of our corporate support staff are franchisees. We've hired from within for everything.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit unique in that regard.
I've never heard that before. So you're
Only
very
our IT,
unique.
Only our IT department.
Yeah, he's the only one that's not
Doesn't
that's
own
not
a franchise.
So if I want to work for you, I got to basically buy a franchise,
Yeah,
and then I
pretty
can.
much.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, it's it obviously creates a few challenges because you have your corporate staff wear two hats, and there's a dynamic there, especially because they're still franchisees, and so they need to be able to interact with their peers, but at the same time they have to take leadership roles from a corporate perspective. So sometimes that takes a lot of skill. So we're picking these people very carefully so they know where sort of they need to be and boundaries within what they're doing. So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily an easy route to go, and I wouldn't say that it would work for any franchise model. But for us, we've put a lot of resources into making sure that those people have the skill sets and the tools to do the job properly. So
They're so dedicated. Our team loves to see the brand grow, right? Of course they do. They're a franchisee.
Sure.
They want us to grow to 500, 750 units. Why not? It only helps the brand. So they're very dedicated, but they're also dedicated that every new franchisee has the support of all these veterans, right? That have been around for 10 years, that know everything. They want to help them grow. And if they see, if we say, hey, they might need a call this week, they're the ones calling and helping them, saying, yeah, okay, this is what I've done in that situation. So
that experience is invaluable. I mean, it's very difficult it would be hard at this stage, the way we've grown, to imagine hiring someone that doesn't have the same experience as a franchisee. It would be so inefficient.
So how do you think about managing the business now at your current size versus when you were 3 or 4? Like, how have your individual roles changed?
Well, I've had to learn to give up doing a lot of tasks. That's my biggest challenge as a person. Is I like to micromanage everything, and but I've grown and allowing staff more responsibilities and taking charge, making decisions, and now people just report to us, and so we're kind of like the puppeteer at the top, and all our teams are working for us, and we have meetings weekly with every group, like our marketing team, our training development team, and they come to us, and I've learned to trust more.
We had this. There's a quote in our calendar that I'll give you. It says, "Just tell someone what you need done, and let them figure out how to do it, and they might surprise you with their ingenuity." So you got to look at it that way, I think.
I agree. Our corporate staff, most of them, and they're in the mid 30s. And they come to the table with stuff that I didn't even think of, and so they're really on it. Yeah. They are.
It's a good feeling when you delegate something and they come back and do a better job than you would have.
Yeah, so.
Right,
Sure.
Right, yeah. Everyone says you got to hire smarter people than
Absolutely
you can, but now they also have to own a franchise, so you got like two filters on that front. So as you're married, you've got a great sustainable business. You seem like you've got a great network, and people are getting results. How do you define? What does success look like? Because as an example, someone said to me, like, where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm like, right where I am right now. Like, this is totally cool. Like, I'm very happy about it. So how do you think about the pressure to grow because everyone else is growing? And you're like, okay, 9 rounds got this amount, and, anytime's got this. And, why isn't 30-minute hit this? And you're like, you know what? Like, this is my business. I want to do what I want with it, and it's going to grow at the pace that it should grow. How do you guys think about that when you see, like, Inc. 5,000, and I want to be this, but maybe I'm fine being this.
I think, though, we're growing so responsible. So, yes, our competition might have 500 units, but I don't know how well supported those units are. And that is one thing that's really, really true to Jackson and I, is that our franchisees are making money, and they're successful
and happy, and they have a real work-life balance where they're not just, it's not just about the dollars and cents. They're actually enjoying what they do, and they're making a difference in other people's lives. So for us, our success has always been the success of our franchisees first and foremost. Sure. And if they're doing well and they're happy, then we're doing well and we're happy. And the second that we sort of decide that we need to grow faster than that allows, I think we're headed down a dangerous road.
But we're ready. We're ready. We're coming to the U.S. We have, I don't know, a dozen new locations opening this year.
Yeah.
So,
well, in the next couple of months.
Yeah. And the U.S. is going to love us.
I think it needs to be kept in perspective too, that our competitors that have a few hundred locations, we started in Canada. We have 1/10 of the population. So, when you sort of do it by size, we're at a good growth rate, and now just entering the US, that growth will definitely accelerate.
How do you still make sure that everyone understands throughout the organization, at the end of the day, like, we're in business to help, the member change their life.
Right.
And, we could put all these cool marketing programs in place, and we can, train you on this. But at the end of the day, like a lot to go through a couple of things. We're working with a couple of different franchises, and the investors that are looking at the deal are just looking at, okay, what's the top line revenue, and, what's the number of members, and what's the churn rate? It's like, hold on a second. Let's just stop for a second and just say, like, all right, are the people that belong to these, 150 locations, are they getting results? And are they spreading the word? And is there a reason why maybe this club is contracted? But let's start with the fact, like, does this brand and these people get people results? So how do you think about, okay, we're looking at the top line. Here's how many locations. We've got these employees that are franchisees. But at the end of the day, like, you probably helped, like, I don't know, a couple 100,000 people, lose weight, feel better about themselves, and, stand up stronger.
Yeah, I mean, the results are easy to see in our members, but one would assume that results are all about someone coming in and losing some weight, getting in shape physically, and that's a big part of it. If you go to our website, you can see our before and after testimonials from our members, and they're all real. Unlike some in the business who fudge those things, every single thing that we post on our website is real. All of our trainers, we don't use models. Everything that you see in our marketing and our advertising are real members of the 30-minute hit community in one way or another, whether they're members or trainers or owners. But what's surprising to most people or most of our members, is the other things that they see as far as results in, emotional fitness and really being happier as a person, not just losing weight or not just getting fit. There's a much bigger piece to the puzzle. When they join the 30-minute hit community, they get, they feel better emotionally, physically, mentally, and it's a real life changer.
I don't know if you've ever hit bags before, but
yeah, I've hit a couple.
Yeah, when you hit,
not bragging, but just reporting back to you.
Well, what you feel after hitting the bags is incredible. And I don't think the women understand that when they first come in for a free trial. Mm-hmm. But after doing it for a few weeks, it's a release that women need. And they feel amazing. And our testimonials, when you read them, we have thousands and thousands of women that say, it's how I feel. Yeah, for sure, I'm going to look better in my jeans and look better in that little black dress at Christmas. But it's how they feel when they leave. And we have such, like I said at the beginning of this, is the community that we offer. It's incredible. It's very supportive, women helping women, moms being better moms, wives being better with their husbands, everything, better at their work, the energy that they get. And we have countless testimonials of these women saying, I'm a better person because of your workout. Mm-hmm. And that's the best. And sure. I know that our owners, they get presents from their members and letters saying, you changed my life. And I think that's what this franchise is given to those owners, those franchise owners, is that they're like, oh my God, these women, they're coming to me, at Christmas, and they're all giving me presents and telling me, like,
you've changed my life.
You've changed my life.
I think a big portion of that success and that measurement in results is the simple fact that we have grown responsibly and have been able to focus on real quality, meaning that when, a member signs up, she's not just going to go there to sweat. She's actually going to learn proper punching and kicking technique. And when people learn, they're really fulfilled. They feel rewarded for their time in, not just about sort of how much they've sweat or if they've lost a couple inches or a couple pounds, but when they actually improve, they see noticeable improvements in a skill. It's really rewarding, and they feel better about themselves. And so that is a real differentiator of us. Not that just our focus is on women, and we have an accessible brand, that's not intimidating and is really accessible by anybody, whether it's someone who hasn't worked out in years or is really a competitive athlete and looking to do some cross training. We can fit all of those requirements, but at the end of the day, one of the big differentiators for us is that focus on quality. As Deanna said, we're constantly pushing our owners and their trainers to make sure that their game is on point, and that when someone steps on the floor, they're going to get real quality instruction and they're going to learn how to do it properly.
And are you from a choreograph and from a workout regimen? Are you changing that up, or how does that work from a content standpoint?
We have different levels at every station. We do fun things. We have a technique of the week that we bring in every week. That's very challenging to our members. And so if you're hitting, 3 or 4 times a week, by the 4th hit, you're going to see, yourself improve in that one new technique of the week.
No 2 workouts are ever the same. We have thousands and thousands of different combinations.
And is that curated at the franchisee level, or is that something top down?
No, it's all systemized, top down. So they have control based on the system of what they want to implement. But technique of the week, for instance, is franchise wide. So there's a consistency, because a membership benefit in our program is that if you're a member at any 30-minute hit, you can train at any of our locations. So we need to have that same consistency. If the technique of the week is, we have a member that lives in Seattle and happens to be in Texas, that week, it's the same. They walk in and they get the same experience. The expectation needs to be the same.
Got it. So as you look to enter the U.S., is your plan to kind of start in the Pacific Northwest and Seattle and work your way down, or is it a catch-all?
We have, I think, 6 locations opening now in Texas.
Great. Is that one franchisee? Or
No, all individual. We sell one unit at a time.
Okay. Were they members before?
No.
Do they work for the franchisor?
No.
Okay.
We're opening in Denver, Colorado, Memphis, Tennessee.
Great.
California.
Well,
Seattle.
Yeah. Miami.
Yeah.
So
it's spread out.
And these are all inbound inquiries that people have found out about it through
marketing
efforts.
Yeah.
That's great.
Brokers. Yeah.
So what else should the Halo community know about, reasons to, within all the FTD regulations, what should we know, from the unique standpoint? Obviously, you've got a culture that seems like it's for best in class, and your franchisees are your employees, so they're obviously, running the model and tweaking it, which is very helpful. What else would you like to share?
It's fun. And I think we've kind of stepped over that, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. The workout is fun. When you start the circuit, you're not going to ever leave it in that half an hour. And you've got that support of a trainer at all times. They're fun. You're working along with all these other women. Running a franchise of a 30-minute hit is fun. The owners love it because of the flexibility they get as being maybe a young mom, and they're able to have really well-trained staff so that they're spending more time with their kids. It's that flexible lifestyle, I think, and it's a fun business to run. We're not filling somebody with, I don't know, chicken wings. We're helping women.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go after all those processed food companies. And I was telling someone the other day that they had a 16-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper, and it's got 66 grams of sugar, which is 14 teaspoons.
Yeah.
Somehow that's the NFL, the beverage of the NFL. I'm like, what? Can we call these people out? Can you help us educate the world on what sugar's doing to people's diets?
It's definitely crazy. But it's an inspiring lifestyle. Absolutely. And that's sort of first and foremost. And when we were selecting candidates, that's what we're looking for, we're looking for people. It's not just, do you have the financial wherewithal to invest in this business, right? As we talked earlier, there's dollars and cents, and it's a good business model. It can throw really good returns. And the fitness industry in general is hot right now because, there's good money to be made in the right business.
But to empower women right now is huge. Empowering women at this time with fitness and boxing, you can't get those three things are the most important things right now. And that's where the market's going. So definitely.
Sort of the perfect storm right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we've got fun, we've got franchisee involvement, we've got passionate leaders here, and we look forward to working with you as you enter the U.S. and
Thanks.
hopefully we've got all the best players partnering with you in the future, and look forward
Yeah, we're
to
excited.
having fun doing it.
Yeah, we're ready. We love New York.
All right, you can put one up here. We got some space downstairs.
Okay.
All right, let's talk.
All right, great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming in.
Okay. Bye.
Cool.